Hey, how's everyone doing out there today?
Welcome
I
to
always
our
try to see
streaking
what I can do to get
podcast.
Jamie to laugh with a little bit different entry.
Before we started, he was turning my volume up and down, up and down. Up and down.
I blasted
like,
it out on her
"Whoa!"
earphones.
Trying to get me off my
let me
game.
just adjust your microphone there.
There
you go.
Oh,
okay,
oh.
wait. All right.
Do you want to come adjust my head so it's close enough to and just the right exact
No,
distance
you're
from
good.
the
You're
microphone?
Good now. Oh, everyone, fellow streakers, how are you today? It is so good to be with you on a Wednesday. The first podcast in February is where we're at.
Can you believe that?
I know. It's
February.
just is February 2021. January is now over. Moving on to February.
Moving on to February, the month of love. And in Georgia,
Yes.
the month of daffodils.
Daffodils.
Which I don't know how long we would live here that I would, if I'll ever get used to that. Daffodils in February. It's my favorite
beautiful.
thing about Georgia.
There is one.
It's the end of February, but nevertheless,
It's
flowers in February.
Yeah, I know. It's absolutely crazy. There's one place that we run by in the morning that they plant them all out in their forest, and it's just absolutely gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
It's the one flower that the deers won't touch.
I think that's maybe why I like it. When we moved here with the weather, I was like, I'm going to be able to plant flowers everywhere.
And then, then we looked out and we're like, and there's deer
I know.
dancing across
They're
our
frolicking
backyard
in the backyard. Flowers
so
and
beautiful.
frolicking deer. Who knew that the frolicking deer eat all the flowers?
Eat everything.
All of them.
I mean, all the flowers.
All the flowers. They still frolic,
Yeah.
but there's no flowers.
In the morning
except
when
daffodils.
I'm out early in the morning and they are in the front yards, because folks, we are not kidding. Where we live, the deer are everywhere.
Everywhere.
They watch me as I run by, and they look at me as if I am disturbing them.
I've actually had one time to stop backing out of our driveway because there was a deer behind us looking at me like, what, you want me to move? I'm like, yeah.
Didn't one
It's
hiss
my
at you once?
driveway.
Didn't
Yes,
one
they
hiss at-
hiss. Who knew that? Deer hiss. It's like, wow.
It hissed at you once. It was
hissed
like,
at me.
yeah, no kidding. It's like,
Anyway,
okay, you're a
those cute
deer. You're
Bambis.
supposed to run.
Yeah, you're supposed to frolic and be happy, not eat my flowers and hiss at me.
There was one time she had planted flowers. They were up on our front porch, and it was all in this beautiful arrangement, and you were so proud of it. I mean, all the different things that it looked like and was beautiful. And the next morning we came out and they were all gone.
They'd eaten them.
They'd eaten
My
every single
favorite
flower.
was when everyone was
on
like,
the front porch. They had to
they
climb up the
walked
steps and
with the
eat.
light on.
It was
and
like they had a little treat. It was
thanks
just
for
little
the
candy.
salad.
I don't think they thought it was salad.
No.
I think they thought it was more like pieces of candy, nice chocolate.
My favorite was when everyone said, plant marigolds. The deer don't eat the marigolds. So I planted marigolds out by the mailbox thinking, great, they'll not eat the marigolds. They popped off the flowers and spit them out on the driveway. That's when I was like, really?
All right.
Really?
You know,
couldn't
the
just
deer,
leave
you're
them alone.
fun once, but now that you're destroying, not frolicking, okay, we've got a problem.
Anyway, on to February. We digressed to deer.
We went into deer. That was awesome. And we can, go into the really punny joke and say, dear Jamie, all about the deer of our Valentines, or dear Valentine, or whatever that is.
You're so punny.
That was awful.
That was terrible.
It was absolutely
Moving
awful.
on.
Okie dokie. As we were talking about last time, we wanted to hit a couple of more things on the Inc. article that we came back with. We felt like we gave it a little bit of what we felt about it, but there was a little bit more
I
that
know.
we needed to.
And I was saying that, and you're like, this is our show. We can talk about whatever we want. If we want to go back and talk about it more, we can go back and talk about it more.
We're going to go forward eventually into relationships and, dun-dun-dun, methodology moment, create a community. One of the things that we've been talking about is the levels of community that you have, which is your core community, your streaking community, and then what we call the looky-loos. In your core community, this is where everyone is interested in what it is you're doing, and you're interested in what they're doing, and you want to celebrate that success. That's why we've set up the streaking app for you to be able to share your streak really with anyone else that's in the app. Mm-hmm. But you can share that streak with your core community. Have them download the app and register as a user, and then you can have them as a friend and share your streak with them. That's the core community.
And I love what
say?
you're doing with your hands because you're putting them together in this little circle that I love because it's kind of showing that the core community is oftentimes the smaller community. It's those people that are closest to you.
It's where you have strong relationships as we
Yeah.
look at February relationships.
Yes, it's those strong relationships and those very personal relationships where they're maybe interested in you as a person, and so they're interested in your streaks because it's helping you, even though they may not be interested in doing those same streaks.
Exactly. And then the second level, and these are concentric circles, the second level of community are those who are interested in doing the same streak you're
Right.
doing or close to it.
Close to it.
You know, it's a group of writers that are all writing one sentence or one paragraph or whatever it is that's laughably simple for them. Or it's a group of readers that are reading at least one paragraph in a nonfiction book. Or it's a group of people that are interested in financial investments.
Right.
And so they're all investing in at least one thing. And that's a little shout out to you, Talon, because I know that that's one of your streaks out there. Talon is so great at this stuff. You know what I mean?
know.
He is our chief marketing officer, and he just sees streaking
With clarity. I
and
love that
he's
too.
able to communicate it through social media in such a way that is fantastic. If you haven't seen the Instagram posts on Streaking Mastery or LinkedIn posts on Streaking Mastery or Facebook posts,
Pinterest, Instagram.
we've got Laurel and Talon that are really populating all of that with all the different great streaking methodology moments. So little shout out to Laurel and Talon. Thank you so much. And also, while we're shouting out here, we may as well shout out Dave, the app. I mean, Dave and his developers. We call him Dave and the developers.
I was thinking the other day about the early days when I was keeping track of my app of my streaks on the Excel spreadsheet, and I would have to. I like writing the day when I would keep track of it. I would write how many days I had done that so that I could look at it quickly and be like, oh, I've done that one for 210 days.
Right.
But in order to do that on an Excel spreadsheet, I'd have to put like a little X next to it when I finished it, so that then at the end of the day I could change all of the numbers.
And then
Anyway,
and then
it was
erase the X. And
even
then,
in me telling you about it, I'm like, it was so cumbersome. It feels like the Stone Age, where now when I take my iron pill in the morning, I can go click right when I take it, and it gets this little thing, and then this little squirt bottle, and nice streak, and it's just
it's beautiful,
so much better.
Thank you, Dave, and the developers.
Thank you.
Keep playing those tunes.
Keep the streak. Keep streaking that app. It's awesome.
It's awesome. What as we look at so as you consider the community that is the streaking community that is around your same streak, then you can start to share that. Now, we are working on the next version of the app, which will have more of the community built out, where you can actually browse streaks that people have chosen to publish publicly.
Yes.
And you can browse them by category. And so you'll be able to see different categories of streaks. And that may prompt or inspire you to say, oh, I want to start that streak. And by the way, streaks are in all different kinds of categories. I mean, health and fitness, art, professional development, all the way down to zoology.
Yes, whatever you would have. And that's what I'm excited about, is that our vision was eventually we'd be to this place that as a community, you could go to that community so you want to be a better artist, and there's this community of artists, and you could look at the different streaks that artists are setting.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, that's how they're
great.
getting
That's
better
what
at that.
I want to do.
That's what I want to do. That's how they're
I want to become that person.
Mm-hmm. And then just creating this space where you have mentors and people that you're mentoring, and the opportunity to come together. That's what the strength of the community is that we are working together to all become better and more of who we want to be.
So, create a community. This methodology moment brought to you by Jeff and Jami.
Ting!
I love that.
Little promo. Our commercial within a commercial? That's what it sounds like, but it's not. It's just our methodology.
It's just a methodology moment. Anyway,
so
what I'd like to get back to is this Inc. article. If you listen to our last podcast, we talked about an Inc. article and this is by Jessica Stillman, and she is quoting an HBR, looks like article, The Happiness Equation, author of, looks like a book then. And she is talking about writing just 3 sentences each day can massively boost your productivity and happiness. Go. I know you had something you wanted to say something.
Nope, I didn't. I was just saying The Happiness Equation was the author of Neil Pasricha was the author of that.
Was the author.
You keep going. You were on a roll there. Keep it going.
Just keep it moving. Just keep this whole bus rolling down the road.
Don't let me mess your momentum.
Well, one of the things that you were saying is there were a couple of other things in this. So just, again, brief recap. What this guy does is write 3 sentences daily, and they are all in answer to the question, or he completes the sentence. I will focus on, I am grateful for, and I will let go of. And what Jessica is saying is that this is, massively boosts your productivity and happiness.
I love what she says at the beginning of the art. She's like, I challenge you to find a daily habit that delivers more self-improvement bang for your buck. So what she's saying is that by just answering these 3 sentences each day, you're getting a huge amount of return for a little effort. What we were saying is it'll never be a habit.
We are on the personal mission.
We love that word's out there, but this will never be a habit however,
and
this
why
is
do we say it that way though?
perfect.
Why do we say it that way is because habit gives you the illusion that it will become automatic.
Right.
And this will never become automatic. Writing these 3 sentences will never become automatic.
And you don't want it to be. You want your life to be more intentional than that. And that's what this does. But having that methodology of making it laughably simple, keeping a record that you've done it, and then creating the community around it will give you the success that she's talking about. Because what she's saying is that if you are consistent in doing these 3 things, you write every morning, you sit down and think, okay, what am I going to focus on today?
Mm-hmm.
What am I grateful for today? And what am I going to let go of today?
Mm-hmm.
She's saying by being consistent in simply doing those things every day,
Ba-ba-da.
you could have life-changing results.
Wait a second. There's a title of a new book.
It's a groundbreaking,
What is it? It's a groundbreaking new book.
book.
Streaking, the simple practice of conscious, consistent actions that create life-changing results.
And so that's what I've loved about this is they're calling it a habit, but it's never going to be a habit because you are consciously
And that's
choosing
okay.
to do this every day. And that's what you want to be doing.
Right.
That's part of what makes you the person you want to be.
Right. Is you raise it to the level of consciousness where you're doing it. So we wanted to just highlight that again because what I believe people are reaching for in any of these articles where they're talking about massively boosting productivity and happiness is sometimes we set the bar so high and so big that it's not ever possible to reach. And what I look at in this is it's saying the bar does not need to be that high. It does not need to be that big. In fact, what you need to do is make the bar a step.
Mm-hmm.
And that step is a simple step that you do every single day. And what you ask yourself is, how long can I keep doing that? How long can I write? And I would say it would be too hard for me to answer all 3 of these sentences. So I would say, how long can I write at least or complete the sentence I am grateful for? Or how long can I complete the sentence I will focus on? I think these are great things to look at.
So too.
I mean, and then setting a streak around it and paying attention to that, that's where it really gets powerful. That's what has changed your life, my life, and many of the other streakers that are out there.
Right.
That we hear from on a regular basis.
Right. The consistency of being able to have these things be a part of your life every day is what changes from the inside.
Was there one more thing that you wanted to highlight on this? Wasn't it I will let go of? Was there something in there that you wanted to go?
Yeah, when it says I will let go of, there was one, stop beating yourself up for inevitable human mistakes and instead follow Pasrica's in forgiving yourself one minor screw up every day. What I loved, I guess, as I read this is that I think this is part of what happens again is we get into this place where we have to do it right all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just not going to do it right all the time. And that's what I have really loved about streaking is that through following the methodology of streaking, it's helped me to be patient with not doing it right all the time.
See, but
so I love that he's like, in this specific thing, he's focusing a spotlight on it saying, okay, I'm going to write down what I'm going to let go of, which I thought was great. But what I felt is that through streaking, I'm practicing that on a daily basis in the methodology of streaking.
Yeah.
So, for example, one of our fellow streakers wrote in that they had missed a family streak. They had a family streak. It had been 378 days. The routine got messed up and they missed the streak. Something happened. And this happens. This is life.
They blame it on their 3-year-old?
Yeah, they blame it on the 3-year-old. The thing that was so fascinating about it is that there's always this time where you're like, wow, 378 days, we missed that. And then you go through this period where you recognize it's something that they were doing once a day. So it was a daily streak. You can't do it 3 times a day and catch up to where you were faster. You only still can do it once a day. And this is where I've loved what streaking teaches is that we want to get focused on the output. I want to get back up to 378 days. It's going to take me over a year It's going to be 2022 before I'm back to where I was.
Right.
So that's focusing on the output.
Now, I would say one thing I'd add just a little bit different. Back to where I was. I don't think you ever go back to where you were, but to add to what you've done.
That's exactly what my point was.
Oh, okay.
Totally. Is that's what the methodology of streaking is teaching me, is that it's not about just the output of 378 days. It's about the fact that I have been doing this every day. And I missed a day, so I missed a day, and I start that streak over. But it is changing who I am from the outside and being patient with this concept that I'm going to keep doing this every day.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So the methodology helps me learn the principle that I'm trying to understand within myself. That is, there are these things that I just want to be doing every day. We keep track of them because it motivates us to keep doing them. But in the doing them, I am changing who I am and who I want to be. And I start to internalize that principle of patience and consistency. And even this of letting go, forgive yourself. But doing streaking is teaching me that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What's interesting to me is you are perfect.
Thank you.
No, I mean this seriously. I know it sounds like
What do you mean?
It sounds off. Well, think about it. You are perfect in writing at least one sentence every single day. You have done that now for, 1,000 some odd days. Mm-hmm. It's perfect.
It is perfect.
You know that you have done that for every single day. Now hold on. Just hang in there with me. Hang in there with me. So what that does is give you a level of self-confidence that you otherwise don't have.
Yes.
Is because you can look back at that record and say, in this thing, I have been absolutely perfect. Now, if I miss a day, this is where we get into and talk about the accomplishment or the output. You can start to look at the streak as a means and an end in itself. And that's not really what it is. What happens is, let's say now you miss a day tomorrow. Let's say you miss the day today. You don't write your sentence, and tomorrow you wake up and you're at 0 again because the streak is ended.
First of all, just going to be sad for a minute. That would be really, really hard.
Right. And then take the opportunity to look at it and look back. And for the last, you realize that 1,700 days is what, 3,
years.
6, 9, 12, 4, almost 5 years. I think it's 5. 5 years you have kept that streak alive. And what that has shown you is that you can actually do it. You can do what is set out there that everyone should do or wants to do.
Right.
Is you can be that level of consistency. And so after you mourn that streak, because it is hard. I'm not going to doubt. I'm not going to put that away. It is hard
because you're like, because there is a little bit of pride in, I've done this many days. But if I miss a day, something happens and I miss a day, it doesn't eradicate all of my journals. I still have all that I've written.
Right.
And so that's what I guess is, I feel like I'm trying to add tangibility around this elusive idea that, because we talk about, I remember one time someone saying, so you don't give yourself any grace. I mean, you don't let yourself miss a day. And the thing that's interesting about that is that's part of what you're creating is this belief in yourself that you can be consistent, which is why it's so important that it be laughably simple. But that doesn't guarantee that you're going to do it all the time. There's still going to be,
there's still a level of a little scariness that maybe something happens and I don't actually do it. And it's, and I've been there before. I mean, I've been there, and all of us will be there at some point. However, what's amazing is how often it doesn't happen.
Exactly. And that's what I guess I look at is I'm like, so then why keep track? Why? Because we are fighting this idea that it will be automatic. Because we've done it a lot, it'll still be there and it'll still happen just as often. And I just want to say that when you stop putting intentionality behind it, even at a small level, even if that intentionality is just as simply as write one sentence a day or write one thing that you're grateful for.
I keep track of it, and I've created a community around it.
And you create a community. You can do that for a really long time, but if you stop keeping a record of it and showing that you're doing it, it can dwindle over time. You can dwindle away from doing that, and you're all of a sudden not doing it as much as you were. You're not being consistent.
And this is one of the things.
That's what this record does, is this idea. We're fighting I think, sorry, I'm just going to
Go.
soapbox
Keep
it
going.
here for a
I'm
minute.
with you, honey. Go.
We've conditioned ourselves as people to not believe that we can really be consistent, because we talk about goals and we set goals. Sometimes we set goals so high or so many of them that subconsciously we know I'm not really going to do that. I am hopeful and let's give it a try. Maybe this time something will be different. But deep down inside, we're like, we know we're not really going to hold ourselves to that. So we're conditioning ourselves to be okay with not being consistent. I feel good because I tried to set the goal. I feel good. And so that creates this level, this place where we're like, well, I know I can't be consistent and I'm okay with that. And that's what we're fighting is recognizing and saying, no, we can be consistent and it's totally possible.
Or
Here's how.
when consistency was given out in heaven, I was standing in the wrong line.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not true.
Nope.
We were all given the ability. We just needed the right tool, which is another thing that we had mentioned on our last podcast. We had said that there's tools in our growth tool belt. And you had mentioned one of them, a goal. And the tool that's been missing is streaks.
It's streaks.
Because you have a lot of people talk about goals. A lot of people talk about routines. A lot of people talk about habits. In fact, some of the best-selling books in the world are about habits and how you can establish habits. And the hard part about that is that it is really, what's the word I'm looking for as far as, it brings you in, but it just is so disappointing because you just don't have that. You don't develop the automatic behavior behind that.
It just doesn't stick.
Right.
And that's what I feel like
What's the word I'm
streaking
looking for?
does.
I can't think of the word. It's like elusive or it's illusion. It provides the illusion. That's what I was looking for. It provides, it basically is the illusion of automatic behavior and the illusion that I can make this happen. And it's really just an illusion. Now, habits have their place, but it's very small in the sense that it's how I do something. And the reason why I wanted to look at the tools in the tool belt in regards to this is most of your tools should be, I can't believe this is over. Most of your tools should be and really want to be in the streaking tool belt.
Right.
Because there's a lot of things that you can do and you can build on the success of your streaks. Wow.
I kind of soapboxed us. I'm sorry.
Nicely done. I love it.
We went off on a tangent.
That was
because
beautiful.
we didn't actually get to what we were actually going to talk about today. But I hope that I want you guys to know you can do this. It's okay to have it be laughably simple, and you can be consistent.
Share with us your laughably simple streaks. We'd love to hear them. Jeffrey, Jeffery, at streakingmastery.com or
Jami, Jami, at streakingmastery.com.
Thanks for soapboxing today, hon.
You're welcome.
I enjoyed it. Until we talk again, everyone, keep streaking.
It's the small and simple things that make you grow into what you're hoping. You're in a hurry.